Hello and welcome. We're talking today about pleas, how to draft a plea, and this, with the necessary changes, applies to drafting answering affidavits as well. But if I don't say it also applies to affidavits, it only applies to pleas. So what are these? These are when somebody has already lodged suit against you and then you are responding to them. So the format of this is they have got paragraphs, numbered paragraphs, say 1 to 20, and your plea will have the heading, the same heading as they've got on there, so you can just copy that, and then it will say between the tramlines it will say plea, and then below that it will say add paragraph 1. That's AD, which is Latin for kind of at paragraph 1. And then the next one will be at paragraph 2, add AD, paragraph 2, usually in bold, underlined, and you go down the page like this. Be careful though, because sometimes in their paragraphs there'll be more than one allegation or averment in each paragraph, so then you have to separate them and say add the allegation about the car, such and such. You know, we still say add paragraph 1, but you say with reference to the allegations about the car, and then say what you're going to say, and then go to the add about the allegations about the house, and then what you're going to say. So make sure it's clear what you're responding to. Now, many of the responses you'll put are very simple, especially when you admit things. So you'll say this paragraph is admitted. There's a whole lot of paragraphs you usually don't deny. So, for example, the parties. So this is Absa Bank, is the plaintiff of this address. This paragraph is admitted, is what you say there generally. In an answering affidavit, when they say all the contents are true and in their knowledge, you usually say this paragraph is admitted except to deny that everything in their affidavit is true, because obviously you can't admit that everything in their affidavit is true or you're not going to have a case. Be careful when you're making admissions, because once you've made an admission you can't withdraw it. However, there's no point denying things that are obvious. It will just annoy the court and make your case look less strong. But still be careful. Don't admit things without thinking about if there's any consequences to that admission. Never ever say it's noted in a plea. This allegation is noted. Fundamental principles of drafting pleas and answering affidavits is whatever you don't deny is admitted. So you can't just say something is noted, then you haven't denied it, you've basically admitted it. So never ever say it is noted. You see it in pleadings, but you mustn't ever do it. And also the other two things that you can say, one is that you can say that you don't know, that it's not within your knowledge. And secondly, you can confess and avoid, which is saying, yes, that's true, but. So usually it's excusing something. So you say, somebody took, you took somebody's car and drove away. And say, yes, I did take the car and drive away, but I'd also left my car, which is an identical model, with the keys in the ignition, and I thought it was my car. So that's like a, yes, I did do it, but this is why. So that's confess and avoid. It's a bit of a strange phrase. With talking about what you know and what you don't know, there is sometimes some things, you know, the bank says that this is their manager who works at this, and he's authorized to attest to this affidavit, and you say, well, you don't admit it, but you don't have any knowledge of whether he is or not. So later on you can go back in discovery and ask that to be proved if you want to. It's a bit tedious. It's not really, but you don't admit, you don't deny, you say you have no knowledge of it. But don't say you have no knowledge of something material to the case. So don't say you have no knowledge of whether you've been negligent or not. That's not the kind of thing you can say you have no knowledge of. So you can deny and raise a factual dispute. So you can say you deny that fact and you say there was no contract. Or you can introduce a new matter. So you admit there was a contract, but the other side did this or that, which was not in terms of the contract. Judges don't so much read the pleading, the correspondence and the annexures, etc. They almost always read the particulars in the plea to get an idea. So what you put in the actual plea itself, rather than what's attached to it, is where your case must be. Generally start with the summary of your defence at the beginning of the plea. So I'm talking about going add paragraph 1, 2, 3, but before that, if you put the essence of your defence in the first paragraph, that'll get the judge's attention. They're very busy and they'll say, okay, that's the defence, and that's important. The other thing you might have at the beginning is what's called points in limine, which is like before you start even arguing, they don't have jurisdiction, or they don't have locus standi, or one of these things. So that also goes at the beginning. And then at the end, of course, you've got your prayers. If you don't have prayers at the end, it's not a plea, so they can accept it. And in a plea or an answering affidavit, you usually ask for that the plaintiff or the applicant's case is dismissed with costs. The other thing you can say is judgment for defendant, and then in the second line, costs. Marnwick, who writes a book on legal drafting, says it's better to ask for judgment for the defendant, but I won't go into that now. If you've got facts that support your case, you should plead them. What you've got to be aware of is a bare denial, where all you say is no, it's not true, but you don't give your version. You've got to give your version. You've got to say what actually happened, and not just that it wasn't what they said. Don't mix up your pleas. Your paragraph for add there, paragraph 15, all you write about there is 15, not 14 and 16. And I think let's stop there for now, and we can return to the matter of pleas in a later lecture.